Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm going to play 1856. Railroading in Upper Canada from 1856. Well, obviously this is our next video series of our look into the 18XX games. This is a pretty early game, I think it's from 95 or something, and yeah, let's set it up. So we're ready to go. Over here we have the tiles. You can see here we have now some fancy poker chips in a nice chip tray. That's the bank, it's 12,000. Here the stock market and the map with the initial offer of 11 companies. And this one is kind of a special state company that might come into play later. I'm going to play a 5-player game. You can see here the chips are already laying where the players will be. And I'm going to go counterclockwise because that's easier for me when I'm playing solo, because it feels like a bit like the way I read, you know, going from left to right, and on this side at least I go also from up down, so that makes a little more sense to me. Okay, when I'm doing the game I will not explain everything in detail. You can watch my 1830 series to get the basic rules of the system. But I'm going to go in detail when it comes to the differences here. I think the most, definitely one of the most important ones is the partial capitalization, which is indifferent to this full capitalization of 1830. So in a full capitalization you have to buy a number of shares. In 1830 that was 60%, and then the company starts with 100% share value in the treasury, and that's all the money they start with. Here it's different. It depends a little bit on the phase in which we want to start a company. In the first, until the 5 train is purchased, so during the first 3 phases, you buy shares, and the money goes directly into the treasury of the company, at least as long as you buy them from the initial offer. If you buy them from the open market, the money goes into the bank. The company can start to operate if there's a number of shares sold from the initial offering which is equal to the train number, let's say it that way, to the lowest train number available in this offer here, when the company would operate. So let's say I want to float a company when there are only 3 trains in the game. I need to have sold at least 3 shares out of the initial offering to be allowed to start the company. When the first 5 train is purchased, this changes a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I forgot something. During this phase, until phase 4, as I said, the money that is paid for a share in the initial offering goes into the treasury. However, each company has a specific destination. For example, that one here, Toronto Grey and Bruce, has to go to Lake Huron. And the company will only get 50% of the overall value, so the value of 5 shares sold in the treasury, and if there should be more shares sold from the initial offering, then that money is withheld by the bank and will be only paid out into the treasury when the company reaches Lake Huron, its destination. And from then on, if there should be more shares sold from the initial offering, all the rest goes right in here. There's no more restriction then. So only 50% can go into the company's treasury before it reaches its destination. Now this restriction doesn't apply anymore when a company starts, when the first 5 train is sold, simply because otherwise it would be pretty much impossible to even purchase a 5 train, because there's simply not enough money in the treasury. And when the first 6 train is sold, then we come to a full capitalization, meaning when 60% of the company's shares from the initial offering are sold, then 100% of the share value goes into the treasury of the company, and it will start off right away. So this is it with the floating of the companies. It's a little complicated, but I mean, you see how it works while we're playing. I just want to give you a short overview here. Another important aspect are the loans. Companies are allowed to take loans, and they can take 1 loan per operating round, and that will give them $100. They have to pay interest for each loan they have also once per operating round, and that will be $10 per loan. A company can only have as many loans as there are shares held by the players from the given company. And the real interesting part is now that at a specific time, which is exactly when the first, I think it's the 6th train, when the first 6th train would be purchased or is purchased, it is possibly to get rid of your crappy companies, because then the Canadian, what is it called? The Canadian government railways might form. If there are companies which cannot repay their loans, the Canadian government railroad might form, and they will then kind of swallow all these companies that don't have any money, and they will give the players shares in a 2-to-1 ratio. So it's not a total loss either. And you can also hold the presidency of the Canadian, and there are a few special rules how that works, but actually it can become a pretty powerful company depending on how many of the other companies are unified into that big company then. However, this is only a thing that happens at one specific time. Later in the game, there are no more loans anyway, and early in the game you have to manage to pay at least your interest for the loans, and it might be even necessary that the president does that with his private money, and but we'll get to this also in more detail during the game. So now we're going to start with the auction of the minor companies. Let's have a quick look what we got. We got the Floss Tramway. That is simply a company that gives you $5 each turn. The Waterloo and Sogin Railway Company. That is located here in this Kitchener space, and it allows the owning company, the owning major company, to place a free station marker, and if there should be no tile in here, also to place a green tile there for free. And once that happened, the company will close. Then we got the, wait a minute, I think it's like that. We got the Canada Company. And this is located right next to the other one. And it allows you simply to place a free tile there. And by the way, for both these companies here, you don't have to be connected. You just, if you own the companies, the privates, then the company who owns them can take advantage of the abilities here. Then we got the Great Lakes Shipping Company. And you might notice here these port symbols. Now, there is somewhere, yeah, there we go, there is a port marker here. And the company who owns that simply places the marker on one of these spaces, and from then on it will get 20 additional bucks for that space. And I think this advantage will hold until the first 6 train is purchased. I'm not sure if the company is closed when someone places that marker or not. I think it is. Let me have a look here. Yeah, that's the case indeed. The company closes once the port token is placed. Then we got here the Niagara Falls Suspension Bridge Company. So the company who owns that gets a +10 marker here, +10 bridge marker. And whenever they move in here to Buffalo, they get simply 10 additional bucks. Now, every other company can pay, I think 50, yeah, to the owner of the Niagara Falls company to also get that advantage. But only if the owner is not a player but a company. Same is it's the same thing with the Sinclair Frontier Tunnel Company, which is over here. You get a +10 marker if you own that company and get 10 additional bucks. And other companies can also pay the owning company 50 bucks to also get this privilege. Okay, so let's start the auctioning for this. I'm gonna do that more or less randomly, use dice to see how much is everyone willing to bid. So let's see, the first player, well, he's interested right away in this one here, meaning he pays, I think he's got to pay 105. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. So he's got to pay at least 105. So we place this here to indicate that's player number 1. Second player, he wants the Canada Company. So it's 55 here. Okay, there we go. Third guy. Okay, he wants that one for 45. The fourth player is interested in, well, this one here, Niagara Falls. 400 and oops, holy shit. 405. And the last player, well, it's funny, he wants to have that one, so we only have to get rid of this one, and then basically the others all will fall. So for 75, he's willing to buy that one. Now let's see who's willing to get into this one here. Okay, now this costs only 15 bucks at the moment. So the thing is, if he is interested in this very expensive company, if he says now, okay, I pay this 15 bucks, then the other companies will all fall and he'll get his money. And he'll get that company that he wishes to get. So I think we might actually say, okay, I'm going to roll a 1 to 4 and I'm going to buy that one here for 15 bucks. Let's see what the others might can do. And yeah, so that's what happens. That was easy. So that means that player here holds the Floss and the Sinclair Frontier Tunnel Company, and then the others all go to the remaining players. Okay, so priority is with this guy over here, second player, and you know that in some games I kind of try to do a few random personalities that will influence my decision making then for the different players. And I came up with that these two guys are super conservative players, while these three guys are average players. You know, so we don't have a real aggressive guy on the table. But hey, okay, let's see. Now, let's have a look at the map and which companies are interesting companies to start, because in this game, in a way I got a feeling like it's even more complicated than in 1830. One reason is there's simply more companies out there. We got 11 majors, and let's see, a few of them are definitely not good. The THB, you don't want to start that at the beginning simply because it is not allowed to lay track. At the very beginning of the game, however, once the 3 trains come into play, this might be a good company, because you can go here, you can go to Toronto, you can go here, you know, it's all not that far away. So maybe that isn't such a terrible company after all. On the other hand, it only comes with 2 dots. So actually I think for the beginning, that's not what we want to start with. Let's see what else we got. Well, I think 2 companies, or maybe 3, definitely seem interesting for a start. The ones that are close to the off-board areas, simply because they usually give you some good money right at the beginning. You get here a little more. You get 30 from a standard dot, or from a standard city at the beginning. You get only 20. So that could be a good place to start here, and you can also then lay track here and go like this. So that's also interesting. In addition to that, you would be able to make connections to these other spaces here. So I think that's a pretty good railroad. The problem is it only comes with 2 dots. But okay, I mean, I still think this is a good one. Another interesting one is the Canadian Pacific. But that one is risky. And I think that probably more aggressive players might want to start that one. The reason is, if you play that right, you can start it with 3 trains, with 3 2-trains right from the beginning. You can make a big run actually in the second operating round. It's a little tricky though, because the thing is, you can only start the company at $100, right? That's the maximum. So let's assume the company will get only $200 in their treasury because nobody else helps you. That means, well, you can take a loan also in the first operating round. That means you got $300, which is exactly enough to buy 3 of these 2 trains. But then you cannot lay track here in the first operating round because you want these 3 trains before someone else gets them. That's your strategy if you go, if you take your start here. At least I think so. And then in the next operating round, you take another loan right at the beginning for $100, and you can then place a for $40 the tile here. You can place the dot for another $40, and then you can run your 3 trains in the second round, and you will make a lot of money that way. That looks pretty awesome. Because this one here and that one here, no, not that one, that's actually like a standard city, but this one definitely gives you a little more money than a standard city. So that looks really good, and you can make a lot of money that way right from the beginning. However, it's always dangerous to have 3 2-trains, because usually when the 2 trains are gone, obviously, you can fall pretty hard. You know, you got all your routes, and it's kind of optimized for these short routes. And then all the 2 trains are gone, and you might end up with a single 4-train or something, and you cannot run these cool routes anymore because it just doesn't work. So there is a risk involved here. In addition to that, you want to go to Toronto. That's your destination, and to get there, it's not quite that easy, because if you go this way here, you got to go past these 2 dots, which kind of sucks. The other option would be maybe going this way, so that you don't run here north right away, but that you upgrade this thing in this direction. And then you can still go here, but this becomes all a little complicated then. So it's not that easy to reach your destination, at least not without going through the dots. And when I played that game once, starting the CPR really aggressive, I ended up at least in a questionable position, because there was that time once the 2 trains were gone where I did not make a lot of money for quite a while. So considering the fact that nobody on this table is a super aggressive player, I'm going to remove this for now from the really close choice here. We got the Great Western. That looks like a good choice to me. on the long term, as well as a good money maker at the beginning. First of all, it starts in London, which is a city which gives you more money than your standard city. It's right next to St. Thomas, so you can do in the second. You can easily do a run in the second turn, and it's also not far from these cities here, Woodstock, whatever that is. You can go here. You might be able to hook up with these suckers. So for me, the Great Western is a really solid, very, very promising railroad. It has 4 tokens overall, and let's see where this Windsor is. Windsor is down here, so it's a little further away until it gets to its destination. You know, it goes to walk around like this, hoping that these suckers don't block him out, maybe, or he might go around here, which kind of sucks, and then here Chatham or whatever. So this is maybe a disadvantage, but apart from that, it seems like a really solid railroad. Maybe not to run it extremely hard with 3 trains or something, but you definitely can also make early money with this one. What about the Canadian? Well, it's interesting. I kind of like the Canadian because it is in the center. It can Chatham, St. Thomas, London, this one here, Port Huron, Sarnia, you know. It's all right around the corner. You got your 3 tokens. You want to go to Woodstock, which is also not terribly far away. Problem though is, as a starting company, it might not be the best, because you won't be able to make any money with your first run. I mean, even if you, you know, that means you can only start making money basically in your 3rd operating round. And that kind of sucks, so I think we don't want that one too. Buffalo, Brantford, and Goderich. Well, these guys are here. I think it's definitely an option. You're pretty much in the you're good in the center, right? You might be able to hook up with others. You can make a run already in the second turn. Your first turn you start here, second turn you can here connect to gold, and then start making money. It's maybe a little tricky how to continue, because you might only be able to run a single 2 train for a few turns then. Going to Woodstock will take a little longer, so maybe it is not the best option also to begin with. So we're going to place it a little bit aside here. I think I would prefer that one not at the beginning. What about the Grand Trunk? Well, I don't know. The Grand Trunk starts over here, so the good thing is it also can make money right from the beginning, and it can make actually money using 2 trains. Right in the second turn, when they can operate, they can run 2 trains here. On the downside, it also seems like you are a little isolated here, and your destination is Orangeville, which would be over here. That's, you know, if you go for Toronto and then continue from there to Orangeville, you're gonna move maybe through these stupid dots, and I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It feels like the Grand Trunk seems a little bit like the Canadian. I mean, I don't want to rule these guys out completely. But then again, I don't know. It's a tough call. It really is. I'm not sure if I have the guts to run one of these two. What about the Welland Railway? Similar problem here. You can start that, can make a lot of money right from the beginning, but then it seems you are a little isolated. But maybe it's not as bad as with the others. You can place a token here, Welland. However, it's one of these double O tokens, and these are termini for quite a while. So even if you place a token here, you can only make a 4 run from there, but I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, sooner or later it seems like you gotta bust through these mountains here. If you want to expand early, you gotta bust through these mountains. That's expensive. Also if you wanna upgrade Hamilton, costs you also 40 bucks. So another one which is tricky. It seems to make early money, but then here you might end with some trouble. However, you always can take your loans, so maybe it's not a big deal. So we might actually place that here also as an interesting starting company. The Credit Valley. Well, they start in Toronto, which is... Toronto will become the richest city in the game. However, as I said at the beginning, it's a terminus. I think when the green ones come up, you can kind of move around like this. But then you again end up... no, it's tough. I mean, you can upgrade this, so maybe it's not such a bad idea. Burlington here, that one. You won't make a ton of money, that's for sure. At least not at the very beginning. So I don't know. I don't think I want to use that as a starting company. The Toronto Grey and Bruce, no, I don't think so. You know, same thing. First track lay would be here. Then you need another one, and then you only end up with, I don't know, man. Oh no, I don't think I want to take that one either. The Wellington Grey and Bruce. Well, that might be a little more interesting. Sits here right in the center. There's Gold, there's Brentford, Orangeville, this one, Kitchener here. So maybe that's not such a bad idea. Problem is it only has a single dot. So that is probably also not exactly my first choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place these three here, and I think these two are really good starting companies. And because nobody here in this game is an aggressive player, I don't think we will see these two companies come out early on. Now this guy has priority. He's got a lot of money. So I think he feels like he might go either for that one or for one of the other. Let's see. On a 1 to 3, I'm going to grab the Great Western because I think it's a really good one. And it's a 2. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to start the Great Western. I'm a very conservative player, but I think that fits me well then. And question is now, how much do I want to invest? How much trains do I need? Well, you know, I don't think I'm going to run that hard at the beginning. So I think I'm fine with 1 or 2 of these 2 trains. I just don't need a lot at the beginning, you know. So that means I don't necessarily need to start at 100 to make sure that I'm one of the first players. I might as well start at a lower level. Not sure. Okay, so here's my idea. I'm going to start that thing at 80. I got exactly 240, so I don't end up with any money left here, which is, I think, a good idea. And I'm just gonna, I'm gonna buy 2 shares of the, oh gosh, holy crap, of the GW. Gosh, yeah, that's not a very solid table here. And so we're gonna, oh no, that's actually, that one should go down here. That's the par value. We're gonna place that one here. I'm gonna get myself the tokens. And this is my starting token here. And then I'm gonna grab myself 20%. And remember, this company will be able to operate in the next turn, especially if there are 3 shares sold, because nobody is gonna, well, is there 4 train? No, nobody is gonna buy all the 2 and 3 trains away. I think we can be pretty certain about that. So if we buy 3 shares of the company, we are on the safe side that we can start operating this turn. What about the next guy? Okay, now as I said, this guy is really conservative, and actually the money went here into the treasury of the company right away. This one is more the average guy, so there is a chance that he might take a risk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On a 7, he's going to start that one. On an 8, he's going to start one of these tough ones, you know, these ones that allow you to make a lot of money. Maybe on an 8 or 9, actually. Yeah, why not? I think on an 8 or 9, I'm going to do that. So it's a 7. So actually he comes up with that one. That's an interesting choice. The Wellington Grey and Bruce Railway. Okay, so he wants to start this one. Is that a good idea? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. So I've seen someone starting with that, so it's not completely impossible, I guess. Question is, at what price, what par value when you start that one? Well, again, I don't need that many trains. 1 or 2 of these 2 trains are fine for me, I guess. So I guess we got this 2. 250. So, feels like I might also start it at 80. That's a solid decision because I will be absolutely able to buy at least 3 shares. So yeah, I'm also going to start at 80. And place that one here underneath. Gotta pay 160. So let's see, we got 150. Damn it. $60. Okay. 160. And these go into the treasury, and that gives me the Wellington Grey and Bruce Railway presidency. Is that a good idea? Hard to say. I also hold this minor, so maybe that I can use that for the advantage. That's, by the way, here I got the Canada company, which is also not far from this one, so it might be a good idea to use that one too. Okay, now these guys, I mean, he still has quite a bit of money. And now he's kind of considering, okay, you know, these guys are using railways that are more the conservative way. These guys here, they don't have a ton of money. So for example, they don't have $200, neither that one nor this one. So it could be an option now for me to say, hey, I want to start a railway pretty high, because I think if many players are playing conservatives, I think you can, it's less of a risk to play more aggressive. You know, if more players play very aggressive, the trains will go away very fast, and your 3-2 trains won't hold that long. But you know, the choice of these railroads, they kind of indicate, yeah, they are probably not going to buy 3 trains at the beginning, simply because it's not that easy for them to run 3 trains. So I might actually consider saying, yeah, maybe I'm going to take a risk. Maybe I'm going to try to get, for example, this one here, right? And I got the Great Lakes Shipping Company, and there are no ports here. So that's kind of a waste. I could use this thing as a port. I wonder if the floss actually blocks that. It possibly might. Let's see. But I cannot use that anyway at the moment, because from Barrie you only go this way or that way. So first we had to upgrade Barrie before we can go there. But let's see what this is about the floss. So this guy, he has got the Great Lakes Shipping Company. So I think he either want to start here or maybe at Niagara Falls. But I think this is an advantage, because here the starting tile itself is a port. So on a 1 to 5, I'm going to start there. And yes, we're going to do that. We're going to grab the London Port and Sarnia Railway, which kind of pisses this guy off, because he's got that Frontier Tunnel Company, which gives you additional money here. But hey, maybe we can come to some kind of agreement or so, who knows. It is possible in this game to trade private companies between players, and of course also to trade it to major companies. Fine. So the thing is, I can run definitely 2 trains easily, maybe even 3. So I think I wanna make sure that I start this thing higher than the 2 other guys. So let me see. If I started at 90, it's 180. I got 225. So then I would have 45 left. Well, hard to say. I mean, these guys, as I said, it's kind of unlikely. They're not going to start a company at 100, simply because they don't have the money to buy the presidency of that company. So I think 90 would be good enough. On the other hand, 100 and I could simply invest more of my money. So I think that's what I actually want to do. I'm going to spend $100. Is that really what I want to do? Maybe 90 is good enough. That leaves me with a little money to play with. So I think I actually want to start it at let's reconsider that. 1 to 3. Okay, I'm going to start it at 90. So we got to spend 180 to get the presidency. Of which one was it? This one here. Okay, cool. Sadly, we only have a single dot, which kind of sucks. But anyway. And we're going to start it up here. You know what? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think I'm actually going to start it at 200 because then I can afford 2 trains. I think I want to do that. So I got to spend another 20. Exactly. Cool. Okay. So I'm now at 200. Or, yeah, 2 shares for 100 each. Brings me to 200. And that will allow me to buy 2 trains even without taking a loan. That's kind of cool. Okay. And then we got these 2 other guys here. The one with the Niagara Falls Suspension Bridge Company. Now he could start a company down here. It's getting interesting because we got to keep in mind now if we can operate or not. So the thing is, if we start this thing at 100, and we did, I bought 2 shares, so I definitely can operate. There is no way, because I'm the first one to buy trains. That's for sure. Nobody can go above this share value. And if someone else also starts at 100, it will go underneath. So I'm the first one to operate. Okay. Now, this guy here could start one at 90. Okay. So he would be then the second one to operate. And there will be definitely 2 trains left because he can only buy 2 trains, right? He cannot afford 3 trains. If he started lower, he could. If he started at 65 or so, he could buy 3 shares, and then, but then there would be, significantly less money in the company, obviously. Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, we can buy 3 shares on the other hand. But it would be worth less, that's for sure. So I think, what about this guy? He also has 180. But anyway, if he wants to start something, he cannot start it at 100, that's for sure. So if I start something at 90 now, I'll be second player, and that is good enough for me. So I think I might want to start the Welland Railway, because I got this, the bridge company bonus, so I'm going to go there. There's no need to roll a die here, it's just too obvious. And I'm going to start it at 90, because I simply don't have $200. Of course, you can ask yourself, Is it necessary to start something at all? Could also invest in something. It's true, we could do that, but you know, I mean, the Great Western could be kind of interesting. Might consider that. But then again, why not investing in my own stuff, right? So I think it's a solid idea. I want to do that. I'm going to buy... I want to start something at 90. Can use my Niagara Falls company for that. Gives me a bonus there. That's a reason why I actually bought it. So I'm going to place that one here. The other one here. And then we have this one here. And that one goes here. Cool. And we got to place 180 into the company's treasury. Okay, so it's now the last player. He's also super conservative. And, well, what are his considerations? Well, he has only 180 bucks left. Which means, if he wants to start a company, the highest possible price would be 90. And then he would be below the WR. So that means he would be third. And there is a risk, it's not a big risk, but there is a risk that actually these two other guys buy 3 trains each. Although I'm not sure if that's even possible. I mean, this guy could do it. If he takes a loan, I think even if he takes a loan, he cannot do it. He's got to pay interest. Well, he might be able to do it if he takes a loan, and then the president might have to pay the interest. So there is a certain chance this guy would be, in theory, able to do it. If he... No, basically you buy the trains, I think, after you pay for the loan. So that means he can't do it. He won't have 300 bucks in here because you cannot voluntarily pay the interest as a president. Only if there is no more money in the treasury, then you can decide, then you have to pay the interest for the loans as the president. But this is not the case here, because you're going to pay your interest before you buy the trains. So if he takes a loan, he has 300 bucks, but then he has to pay 10 bucks as interest, and that means he doesn't have 300 bucks left. So he's not able to buy 3 trains. It's not going to be possible for him. Not in the first turn. So technically, it seems like if he starts a company for 90, he will be guaranteed to get a 2 train, and then therefore also to operate by only buying 2 shares. So it could be an option. But then again, we cannot afford to buy that one, and he's definitely not risking that. There would be the Buffalo, Brantford, and Goderich. You know, wants to go to Welland, which is down here. Can go here very quick. This definitely could be an option. But is it really that great? I don't know, actually. I really don't. The other interesting idea I'm having is, now that I see here that the trains are going to fall pretty quick, maybe it's actually a good idea to pass for now. And maybe invest in something else in the next turn. Or what I also could do is, I could start a company at a lower price here. This one, the THB. And hope that all the 2 trains will be gone, so that a new phase will start, which allows me then to place the green tile here and then buy a 3 train. Because in general that's a cool company. I could go here to Burlington and then to Toronto, which allows me to make a bit of money right pretty soon. And let me see how many of these tokens does it have. That's also, it's only 2 tokens. Nah, I'm not sure if I want to do it then. Tricky. I own the tunnel. It's a shame that I cannot use it, that the LPS is already gone. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to pass and I'm going to not start my own company. I think I want to do that later. I'm going to roll a die on that. On a 1 to 4 I'm going to pass, and that's what I'm going to do. So that gives me the priority deal for now. And now it's this player here, and he wants to buy another share of the Great Western. So he's got to pay 80 bucks, which go here in the treasury, and he gets a third share of the Great Western. Same thing happens here with the Wellington Great and Bruce. We pay 80 bucks in the treasury, another share. So that means even if all the 2 trains should go, we are here on the safe side. We can also start operating with a 3 train right away. This guy, he's got to pass. He doesn't have any more money left. Same here. So it's his decision again. Does he want to do anything else? I don't think so. Does he want to invest in some other company? I don't think so either. There is no real reason to do so, because he's got to pay the par value anyway, and in the first turn the companies are not going to make any money. It's just not going to happen. So I don't think he's going to start his own company. I just don't think so. Well, I'm actually reconsidering here a little bit. This player here, his idea is to say, hey, maybe I want to start a cheap, well, I think I cannot even do that. I thought I could start a company at 60, but that's not possible. So with my 180, I cannot buy 3 shares. So that means if I start a cheap company, there's a very high risk I end up not able operating the company. So I think for now I'm going to pass. Maybe in the next turn I might consider starting a company, maybe even the Canadian Pacific here, on a more conservative route, right? We could buy a 3 train and go here, this way, right? Don't run it super aggressive, but more conservative. But the point is that he's the only player who owns 2 privates, one of them really expensive. So he wants a company to get rid of his privates. That's important. So I guess sooner or later he cannot remain just an investor. He definitely wants a company at a certain point to dump his privates. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the first operating round. I think there's not too much happening here. As expected, the LPS goes first. And they're going to place this token here. Okay, so after my tile placement over there, damn, I'm gotta be careful with this cable here. It's completely, oh gosh, sorry for that. Problem is, I gotta place it a little above, otherwise it's not long enough, and my battery is empty. Okay, so there we are. So let me see. The question is for me: do I want to take a loan or not? Taking a loan is a good thing, basically, because it gives you money. Right now we don't need that, though. We can afford 2 trains without a loan. That's also cool, because we don't have to pay interest then. However, we also saw that first of all, we might be interested in another train. We cannot afford another 2 train this turn. If we take a loan now, we could afford it next turn, though. So just in case that all of the other guys would only buy a single train, it would be possible for me to get a third 2 train. Now that is extremely unlikely. Do I want a 3 train? Well, I could upgrade this thing here, and then I could, I guess, yeah, I could go down here or so, but you know, it's gonna take a while. And as I said, it seems to me like the trains will fall pretty quick. So I'm not even sure if I want a 3 train. Maybe I want to skip the 3 train and want to take a 4 train right away. Will I have enough money? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna buy more shares, and I'm pretty sure this is a pretty profitable company. So I think I got a good chance that, for example, this guy might also buy shares from me. So I think I'm not gonna take a loan right now. Instead, I'm just gonna pay 200 bucks, which is exactly what we have here, to get myself 2 of these 2 trains, and then of course the share price value drops. Next is the WR, and we cannot afford 2 trains. We simply don't have the money. Do we want 2 trains? Well, before we decide that, we're going to place a token, or we're going to place a track tile. And it's kind of interesting. There are only 2 of that specific type here. So, for example, this guy might already end up having problems because he cannot go like this anymore. That kind of sucks for him. Well, anyway, that's the other player's problem, right? So we're going to place it. That's interesting. It really is. Only 2 of this. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. And now, yeah, I think we definitely want 2 trains. So that in the next turn, in the next turn I can then run. Well, I don't need to take a loan this turn to. Well, but if I want to buy now 2 trains, it's an interesting question. I could also wait maybe till the other trains are gone and then hope to buy a 3 train and then go this route here. Does that make sense? Boy, that's hard to answer. I think I'm fine buying 2 trains. So I'm going to get myself a loan. And that means I get $100. Which basically this thing is only worth $90. So that means I got to pay 110 to get 2 trains. Okay, and yeah, there are my trains. Okay. Share value drops. And now there are only 2 of these 2 trains left. There are only 6. So then it's the GW. Okay. They have 100. Well, they have quite a bit of money. They got 200 and something. Okay. So first they're also going to place a tire. And here the trouble already starts. Where do we want to go? If I place a tile here, I cannot get this one anymore. So that means I cannot make this way here, which kind of sucks. So I might as well say, hey, I'm going to place a tile here and then make it, for example, to Woodstock or up here. I want to go in the end to Windsor, which is on the other side. Yeah. But then again, I can be pretty optimistic that when the 3 trains come out, these suckers will upgrade their tiles, because these are basically their home stations and they want to get more money out of them. So I guess what I want to do is, for now, I'm going to go either here or there. Now I think going south for now is the better option. Here, and I can make it to Brantford. I got my Canada company. Does that help me? I think it's not terribly powerful. I get a free track lay here. Oh shit. So if I only buy a single train now, I can be sure that these guys will buy the other train, right? So that means that in the next turn I could then buy myself a 3 train. With a loan, it would be no problem. I could easily afford to do that. The question is, do I need that? I mean, I could also buy myself 2 true trains and run them from here, and then in the next turn I could place a dot here in Woodstock, so I can run them like this and make a decent amount of money. It feels a little more reasonable to me. Of course, there is the risk that I will lose these 2 trains, but I mean, if the 4 trains come out, I'm going to lose the 2 trains. However, these guys will not be terribly interested in getting rid of their trains, nor will this guy. So in the end, I think I can afford to do so. And on a 1 to 5, I will. And yes. So we're going to get ourselves 2 true trains. Do I want a loan? Well, I don't think so. There is no reason for me to get a loan right now, and I think I can definitely take one later in the game. So we're going to throw in the money here, got our trains, and of course the value drops. And now at the very end, it's the WGB. Luckily the guy has now 3 shares. If he only had 2 shares, he would be hosed, because then he could not start operating, because now only 3 trains are available. And it's always the number of train, the cheapest number that is available, that's the minimum number of shares you need. But he's safe. Okay, the question is, can he afford a train of that? I mean, first we got to place a dot, right? And there we have, yeah, and we already have a few problems. Because here, obviously, well, we could make a run in the next turn. It is possible. Where do I want to go? I think I want to go straight for now. No, there's this dot up there. I don't want to take that one. So I guess I prefer to go in this direction. Where's my destination? It's Goderich, which is over here. So that's fine. That's not too far. So we're going to place this one like that. And then in the next turn, I could make a 2 run, and then a turn later, I could already go to Brantford and make solid money with my 3 train. So I guess that's not too bad. It's not as good as having 2 trains. That's obvious. So, on the other hand, I got 3 shares, which gives me 30% of my run. This guy also has 3 shares. So I might actually already have a little bit of a problem here. Still, I don't know what else to do right now. I got to buy that train. So, well, actually, that's not true. I don't have to buy the train because I don't have a valid route going on yet. So I could as well say, hey, I'm not going to buy that train for the moment and see what's happening. That could be an interesting choice, because that prevents the other players from being able to upgrade to a green tile. So I mean, I might as well do it. How likely is it though that, I mean, there are 5 of these trains. I think we can be pretty sure that nobody's gonna, but then I cannot run in the next turn. So no, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna spend 225. Yep. To get ourselves the first 3 train. That means we come into the next phase. Let's see what that means. Definitely it means that from now on green tiles are available. There we go. Okay. Yellow and green track tiles. Each public company may own up to 4 trains. Public companies may now purchase private companies. 2 operating rounds between stock rounds following the next stock round. Use the top value for running red off-board sections. Use first certificate limit table. Okay, fine. I think there's a certificate limit of, I'm not positive, I think it's pretty high. I think it's 13 or something like that. So it's a fairly high certificate limit here. Okay. So yeah, the share value drops obviously, and that means now that we are at the end of the first operating round. We're going to see another stock round, but this is definitely a time to load things up. Oh, actually, this is bullshit. All these guys should be here. Cool. Yeah, okay. Let's see how this develops. Not too much interesting stuff happened until now, but well, the train rush is gonna be, well, I don't know. I mean, for now it seems like maybe not too much is gonna happen, because they're simply yeah, there's simply still enough trains left, and I think will see the 4 trains coming out too soon. This guy is already in a little bit of a disadvantage, it seems. With his only 3 train, the company will not be able to make that much money. And about him, we're going to see if he's going to start one of the 3 trains over here, or maybe more reasonable, first investing in some of the other companies who make more money. I think that in the end that makes more sense. But we'll see about these things. Okay, yeah, hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.